Recently, the update we bring on this particular platform about the tomato ban Burkina Faso imposed here. Even though His Excellency John Dramani Mama, who is currently in France, he sent a delegation to Burkina Faso to speak to Ibrahim Traoré to lift this particular ban. No, we have already started looking elsewhere or having a plan B. Now, there are many things we could have done to hit Burkina Faso. We could have easily closed them out harbor because the Hona Omuyu mind you, or money Togo, Benin, they are not really free like that. Into Ghana, na yes, a harbor no, a ben or moi, or meeting be use freely. When we block it, they are doomed. And looking at how Mama free passage, you know, they won't be getting the same thing. Now, regardless of this particular thing, President John Dramani Mahama or the Simbi Ababe Tuja or no any the governor of the Bank of Ghana said recently, Ghana, Burkina Faso, announced tomato ban or announced and Ghana is actually taking steps to revert or stop these kind of things from happening, thereby what is the president and Ghana planning? You share this video, Babaka, we will continue.
And so, like I said, we're all happy, and one of the good things about this Quo Business Forum is the panel discussions. It gives us the opportunity to bring people who are in positions where they can give us more information and interact with us, the ministers, and I'm happy that Gumzi Tano, who led the whole 24-hour initiative, had an opportunity to do a panel discussion yesterday, and there he talked about a $3 billion import bill. There are some things that we do not have a comparative advantage to import, to produce, and so we necessarily must import those things. But if you look at our food import bill, the majority of the things there are things that we have a comparative advantage to produce. We have the land, we have the water, we have the sunshine. And so it's still quite a shame that we have to import things like that. Recently, when Burkina Faso announced a ban on fresh tomato exports to Ghana, people say it's going to be an emergency, there'll be a crisis, you know, there'll be a shortage of tomato. Why should that be the case when they even produce in the Sahelian region? We have better climates and conditions for producing tomato here. But it also triggered a response. And so the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Finance have come together to initiate crisis tomato production in Ghana. So we're building 60-hectare irrigated lands that would have water for all year-round tomato farming. But it's not enough to just grow the tomatoes. We should also put in the processing capacity so that we won't have tomato gluts like we are having with other products. And so we should start thinking outside the box. The Minister of Finance is going to come to Parliament with a comprehensive document on the new economy we want to build in Ghana. And so when it's ready, we'll circulate it, you'll take a look at it, it will come to Parliament, the people's representatives will debate it. But agriculture and agribusiness is going to be one of the priorities. We're going to select specific areas where government is going to intentionally mobilize investment to go into. And so those areas are being selected, and we intentionally mobilize both our own resources and any resources that we can get externally to invest in those areas so that we'll get measurable outcomes within the shortest possible time. And so that will come to Parliament, and I'm sure that it will give us the opportunity to be able to grow our country faster.
Now, it didn't end there because His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Okan Samanche, and the governor of a Bank of Ghana, so in same but then there's a whole lot of things really happening. In Sama, the governor of the Bank of Ghana or the Tuja about this whole issue as you see, it is a big disgrace. Say, Ghana, we can't even produce tomatoes. We have better land than Burkina Faso. You think some BOG Governor Johnson is here or the Tuja about how our Ghana is vulnerable because Burkina Faso is saying they will not allow us to buy their tomatoes.
So I went to a program recently and they asked me, so Mr. Governor, what is next? Economic stability, we understand that. Sentiments are stable, that's fine. What is next? And I said, okay, it is now the real job is going to start. Stability is good, but people are hungry. There's unemployment everywhere. So what do we do? And I said, okay, so the next step now is to strengthen the markets, the banking system, the markets through which our policies work. So if you notice, we are really on the banks. We are coming up with a number of guidelines, a number of exposure drafts. All that is meant to strengthen their health. Because when the banks are strong, it can give more credit, lower credit, not so. Yes. And so this year is about attaining efficiency. It's about strengthening the markets. And so far last year, we came to meet some legacy issues, a number of banks that were not having enough capital. By the end of the year, we're left with just 2 banks, more or less, that still needed help. We are sure within the next 2 months, those banks will also recover fully. And so with that, we are then clear that the banking system is back on its feet. So the next thing is how they can give more credit. I am very passionate about private sector credit. You know why? When I look at our peer countries, talking about Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, all those peer countries, if you take the amount of credit that goes to the private sector from the banks, and you divide by GDP, and compare to all our peers, Ghana is the least among them. The least. Kenya is doing about 30%. Ghana is doing around 8%. Just 8% of GDP. So it's not surprising there's a lot of unemployment. It's not surprising the private sector, is still really under pressure. Think about the high interest rate environment we came from. And I was at a program the other day, and I said, if a business borrows money at above 30%, how do you expect that business to repay? I mean, interest rate at 30%, what are you going to use the money for? So it's not surprising we have all these high levels of NPLs that we are coming from. Our focus currently is to engineer a low interest environment, a stable exchange environment.
For in Sema, a governor of the Bank of Ghana or the Tuja. But then one fascinating thing too, which is really happening, a shocking kofobi brain is as we are here talking about issues we cause so and tomatoes and economy near the adeno. Onion sellers are also complaining say onions be bree. Be bree and top Jenny. If we're into screen so it will load in a minute. You realize that Jenny 4 complaints, which shall say onion farmers in Ghana's northeast region are reportedly struggling to find buyers for their produce, facing potential losses after harvesting their crops. So that is exactly what is really going on. So as Ghana, yeka so niema enko yeni ade no onion sellers, yes, you see any tomatoes. But then Jenny 4, party say Jenny no ya mana broso. Ya mana broso. But see ano ye struggle see ye binya nkofo atofo ye struggle. So the question is in toes. Jane is so talk. So the whole issue has to do with preservation because the India, if you make us say yen pese ye in toes and yen pese ye be tomato farming is because tomato farmer na tomato farming na what's tomatoes na acha within 4 weeks or 3 weeks, say one ton say. So yen teaming put in measures a bit preserving for a longer term and a longer time into profitable to farmers. The same thing is happening to onion. Why? Because the people who do onion farming talk na at the end of the day onion nyina essay akoye omoka. So that's exactly what is really going on. But then you be few ways so near the camp of a year Anas Aremeyao Anas. It's been a long time since we heard of Anas Aremeyao Anas, but what is really